Hi guys, this is Johanna Ali from Sewciety and welcome back to my channel. Last week I shared with you guys how to make the citrus dress. Now this week I'm also going to make a different version of the citrus dress, but I'm going to show you how to modify the sleeve to make a dramatic puffy sleeve dress. Also, the dress that I made is Gucci inspired, so I'm going to share with you guys exactly how I did that. So let's get started. Okay, so the first thing that we're gonna do is that we are going to take the band, we're gonna take the faux button placket, and I'm going to measure it using the green and the red cross grain ribbon, and I'm gonna cut it out to the length of the faux placket. And what I'm going to do next is I'm going to go over to my iron, and I'm going to use Heat and Bond Ultra Hold. I just have Ultra Hold. You don't need Ultra Hold. It's just what I have. So I'm going to go over to the iron, and I'm going to put a strip down the middle, and I'm just going to eyeball it. So I'm going to iron that on. Then after I iron it, I'm going to peel this off and then put the ribbon on top. And then I believe I iron it again. Yes, after I take it off, then I iron it down, and it's gonna stay put just so it'll stay when it's time for me to sew it. So let me do that and I'll be right back. Okay, so I attached my ribbons together so they wouldn't move around while I'm sewing. And I've already marked my dress where the placket should go. So I'm going to go ahead and pin this down, and then I'm gonna sew it down. So what I did is I sewed down the green sides first, and then I also sewed down the red so that it wouldn't flap out on the edges. And now what I'm going to do is put the rest of my dress together, well, the front and the back, and then I will be back when it's time to modify the sleeve, okay? Okay, so I've gotten the dress put together, the front and back. I sewed down the placket. Now we're gonna work on the sleeve. So this is what I did. The pattern is obviously a short sleeve. So I took a sleeve that I've used before that I know fits well, and so I'm gonna use that to try to make it grade from the armhole down the arm. And this is the Erica Bunker dress by Style Sew Me. And so what I did was I marked down here the bottom hem. But what you're supposed to do is measure your arm, the length of your arm, right? And then you want to take off the seam allowance from the pattern that you're using, because remember, it's already included. So this mood fabric dress is 1/2 inch seam allowance. So you would start measuring from there to the length of your arm, or however long you want it, and then add the seam allowance at the end. So I've already drawn the bottom. I'm gonna match the pattern, these two patterns up at the arms, at the underarm. So that's where that is. So what I'm gonna do now is trace the pattern. And you're not gonna trace the top, because we're gonna do something different with the top, but you wanna go ahead and trace the sides. So let me put my pattern weights here. And I'm going to use my ruler. Let me trace the pattern first. So this is the original pattern, da 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 da. Right, just so I can see where it is. Like I said, we're not worrying about here. So I'm tracing out the pattern. And the pattern, the sleeve pattern that I'm using matches up with the sleeve pattern that I have used. So what I'm gonna do now is remove the mood fabric pattern, and I'm going to trace out the sleeve here that I've used before. We want to mark a grain line. So you want to take this pattern and fold it in half. That is going to be where we mark our grain line. So I'm bringing this back up to the arm hole, excuse me, the underarm. And here is the middle of my pattern. Okay, so we've traced out our sleeve, and then we traced out the sleeve that we know that fits. So what we want to do, since this comes out to this side, but it curves. So what I'm gonna do is, and I also noticed that other people use marker so that you guys could see what's going on. So I'm gonna go ahead and do that. So I'm going to, right where the sleeve starts curving, because it curves out, I am going to come into here and then match, and then start grading down from there to here. So I'm gonna leave this here. Let me put my pattern weights, and I'm gonna match it up to the end of my pattern, and I'm gonna bring this up to where it starts curving, and then I'm gonna mark it out. Okay, and then this is marked here, and it is marked here, I know that I want to mark out from, this is where it starts curving. I'm gonna mark it. And once I'm done, then I'll make sure that it's straight. But now what we want to do, let me mark my middle. We are going to make a circle. Actually, we are going to measure down 8 inches from here, which is right here, actually. So I'm just gonna mark across. On my ruler. Okay. And then we are going to mark from the 8 inches. We're gonna mark down 4 inches on each side. Down from there, 4 inches from each side. Okay, so I traced out my pattern and I'm going to match from my armhole to here. I'm going to straighten that out. Then we are going to go down to that line there and I will show you. Okay, I'm going to straighten this line out. This is where we are going to cut down. So this is the cap sleeve. This is our center. So what I did was, I came down from the armhole 4 inches. From the armhole to this line is 8 inches, which is your bicep line. So I split that in half, got the 4, cut across. This is the top of our pattern cap. And let's just make sure we know that this is the back and this is the front, but really we're about to make this big. So from here, we're just eyeballing and you can do whatever you like. So I'm feeling like I need to do this in pencil because I've never done this before, but let's go. So we're just making a big circle and you can make dotted line. There we go. And you can just eyeball it because really we are gathering all of this. No, I shouldn't have done that. We're gathering all of this from this point to this point. Gathering it. Here's the middle. Make sure that you mark your middle so you can put that on your fabric. So we can match that up with our shoulder seam. But this is now our new pattern piece. And this is our sleeve. So let me go from here to here. And like I said, let me cut this out. Where are my scissors? Okay, here we go. Use your paper scissors. I'm gonna fold this pattern in half using the line that we drew. So now that we have the center, I can go ahead and cut this all around so that it will be even on both sides. So, all right, I'm gonna cut this. This is our new sleeve. I already have all my markings. We are gonna cut down the center because we are gonna be doing some slashing and spreading. And so we cut down the middle and we're gonna cut across. But we're cutting across and we're only cutting to the very edge because that is what we're going to slash and spread. But you don't want to cut through your pattern piece, okay? Now we're gonna come back over here and we're gonna do the same thing. Make sure you don't cut through your pattern piece. And here you go. All right, so it would appear that I did exactly what I didn't want to do. I cut through my fabric and your girl is out of tape. So we're about to pin this down. We're gonna measure 4 inches out. And then we're gonna trace all around and then cut, okay? So here we go. What we are gonna do next is I'm going to cut out interfacing for just this half. The interfacing will be on this half of the fabric. My pattern, this is what I used for easy knit interfacing. I got it from Joann's on clearance, but this is what I used. You only have to interface up to here. I don't know why I did all of this. We're gonna gather. We're gonna make gathering stitches, which is our longest stitch length. From here, make a quarter inch all the way around. And then you wanna do another quarter all the way around from that initial quarter. And then what we're gonna do, I'm gonna iron this. Then what we're gonna do is you're gonna take your sleeves and you're gonna sew from here all the way down. And then we're gonna gather from here all the way around. And then once we gather those stitches, they're gonna fit in between our dress. Okay, once you've gathered your sleeve, what you're gonna wanna do is turn it right side out. And we're gonna install our sleeve. So turn it right side out. And your dress will be wrong side out. So it's gonna be inside out. This is the front of the dress. Pin all the way around, sew it, turn your dress right side out, and you'll be done attaching your sleeve. I'll be right back. All right, so I've installed my sleeves in my dress. I gathered the sleeves, I put them in, making sure to match up with the notches, and here it is. I am so in love with the way that this came out. Now all I have left to do is to sew the sleeves, excuse me. Now all I have left to do is to finish off my neck and hem my sleeves and hem the dress, and I'm done. Oh, and add my gold buttons to it. Thank you guys so much for watching. I hope that you found this tutorial helpful. I hope that you follow along and make your own puffy sleeves, and make sure that you tag me on social media when you do at SewVeryJo. Until next time, guys, thanks. Bye-bye.